What's up, Wolverines? I'm Juanchi Tejera.
And I'm Ricardo Blanco, and welcome to this edition of the Waiver Wire, where every week we'll tell you who to start, who to bench, and who to snag up on the waiver wire. All right, Juanchi, who's your pick of the week?
Well, I know we already have some obvious pickups all around. I've been preaching for Justin Herbert since last week. Top 10 quarterback for the rest of the year. We know Miles Sanders might be injured for Thursday Night Football this week. So Boston Scott is there. But my pickup of the week is Dallas Goedert. Tight end for Philadelphia, still available in 75% of leagues. You see Zach Ertz injured his ankle this weekend, and they're already saying that he's going to be out for about a month, maybe. So that's like 3-4 games at the very least. Goedert has been on IR since week 3, but we know he had an excellent start to the year, even with Ertz in the lineup. I remember week 1, about 8 catches, over 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns or a touchdown. He was playing excellent. And the Eagles' next 3 matchups, 2 games against the New York Giants and a game against the very bad Cowboys defense. So I really like Goedert for the next 3 weeks, for his next 3 games. And I know Wentz loves to look to the tight end, so consider picking him up.
Yeah, there's something about Philadelphia and their tight ends. You know, Ertz, a future Hall of Famer for sure. And you just have Goedert, who started doing great at the beginning of the season, got hurt, and now you have Zach Ertz getting hurt and Goedert coming back. It just makes sense to pick him up. I like how you mentioned big names. People just know, like, hey, these are guys that you're for sure going to pick up on your lineup. However, I'm going for another very overlooked guy, Tim Patrick.
Love Tim Patrick,
Tim Patrick has been great, very consistent, and he's only in, 11% of leagues, which is ridiculous because he's had double digits in the past 3 weeks on fantasy points. So, look, this is a guy, he got a touchdown on week 3, he had a touchdown on week 4, but he got 6 catches on week 4, and 4 catches on week 6, both for over 100 yards with that touchdown of week 4. So just know, this guy is for sure a guy that you need to pick up because he's for sure a guy that's going to be consistent. And even if you don't start him, you have that insurance in your bench that you have there.
And I think I agree with you because I was just watching the Patriots yesterday, and it was first drive. Drew Lock threw a 40, almost 50-yard bomb, if I remember correctly, to Tim Patrick. He hauled it in. Very nice play. I think they look at him for the deep bombs, but they also play him nice and safe sometimes on the post routes. I think he's a great guy. He's the number 1 receiver. Remember, Cortland Sutton has been out. Noah Fant right now is questionable with his injuries. So he's a great guy that I want on my lineup, and I think I could even start if my team has a lot of bye weeks. Absolutely. So I like that pickup.
Absolutely.
Going on, who's your start of the week?
All right, my start of the week is another guy that's sometimes overlooked. I'm going Travis Fulgham. Travis Fulgham for the Eagles has been doing great. Some people are scared because he's had some kind of flop weeks, some weeks that he hasn't done too great. But you know what? Travis Fulgham has been 3 weeks in a row, touchdowns. Touchdown insurance. We talk about it almost every week, touchdown insurance and the importance of having a guy that can consistently give you touchdowns. On week 5, he had an amazing performance that we obviously talked about, kind of like Claypool. It's not sustainable, but he had 10 catches, 152 yards, and a touchdown. So you have that boom possibility, and then you have that 6 receptions, 19 yards, but he had that touchdown on week 6, which is just amazing. Those 6 receptions, you know they're targeting him, and you know that he's going to be great moving forward.
Yeah, no, and like you said, one thing for me with Travis Fulgham is that consistency. Because you said he's had flop weeks, quote unquote, but that's flop for how some people expected him to boom. Because he's a boomer average guy. I love a boomer average guy because I know I'm gonna get my double-digit points, and maybe the guy goes off and he gets 20 plus. And with all the injuries that we're seeing around with the Philadelphia Eagles, we never know what's gonna happen. But the thing is, he's a start for this week. But Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey, they're going to start coming back within the next 2 weeks. So after this week, you have to monitor that situation. However, I really like him for this week. He's a start.
And even then, I feel like he's developing a really good community with Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz really likes to look his way.
The chemistry there is working really well. All right, going on, who's your start of the week?
My start of the week is Justin Jackson. Justin Jackson for the LA Chargers against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, do you remember what Joe Mixon did to the Jacksonville Jaguars just a couple weeks ago?
Again, Joe Mixon is the ghost of my past, I tell you.
Hey, 3 touchdowns and 150-plus scrimmage yards. This is a great matchup for Jackson. And you know what? Last week, with Eckler, first week with Eckler out against the New Orleans Saints, he outcarried Joshua Kelly. I feel like Joshua Kelly has had issues carrying the ball, a few fumbles, and they're going to start giving it to Jackson more. Against the Saints, he had the 14.4 points on fantasy, which is super solid, especially now with a bunch of people out on bye weeks. I love that pickup. I love the matchup. There's nothing I don't like about this week for Justin Jackson. He's my start of the week without a doubt.
Absolutely. Justin Jackson and those running backs have been doing great. And I feel like Justin Jackson has emerged as that starting running back. Going on, who's your bench of the week?
My bench of the week is not one, but two guys.
Oh,
and they go together.
I know what you're going to say.
No. No, because we were talking about it before the show, of course. I'm going to bench Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, the 1 and 2 receivers for the LA Rams. I like these guys. No. I like these guys, but they're going against the 5-1 Bears. I love Chicago. I love their pass defense. No offense to Nick Foles. It's not about him, but if they had a better offensive core, and it's not him, it's his receivers and the running support, they would be they're a Super Bowl contender, and they still are. And let me tell you, they're gonna be the 6-1 Bears after this weekend. Let me give you the numbers. Even this weekend against the 49ers. I know you really want to go at me right now, but let me give you the numbers and then you can talk, all right? This weekend, even against the Niners, Woods had 4 catches and 29 yards and a touchdown, which saved his production in fantasy. Cooper Kupp, 3 catches, 11 yards. That's it. And here, let me give you the Bears, allowing less than 225 pass yards per game, and on the whole year, 6 games so far, have only allowed 4 passing touchdowns. 4. One was to Stafford, one was to Matt Ryan, and then I think maybe Teddy Bridgewater threw one this weekend or something like that. But they haven't allowed any. They got Khalil Mack on the pass rush, Eddie Jackson playing safety. That defense is amazing. It's impressive. We got the 6-1 Bears after this weekend, I promise you.
All right, look, I agree with Cooper Kupp. I'm not gonna argue for Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp has upset all season long. I'm not gonna argue for Cooper Kupp. However, Robert Woods, we talked about that touchdown dependency. If he doesn't get it done through the air, he gets it done through the ground. Not on top of that, the Bears are 18th on passing yards this year. 18th. I just don't see them being that great to stop the Rams, and I feel like this game, the game plan going in is gonna be to focus on the run. And what Jared Goff and Sean McVay, that beautiful brain that Sean McVay has, is gonna be to turn it around and expose the passing defense, which I personally think it's not that great. Now, what they do
it's a top 5. Unarguably, it's a top 5 pass defense who have allowed the least touchdowns through the air in the whole year. I don't know what you're saying that they're not top 5, because they are clearly a top 5 defense, pass defense.
On top of that, I'm just gonna skip over the fact that you call them Super Bowl contenders. I'm not even gonna argue against that.
They're Super Bowl contenders if they had a better offense. Let me correct that. They're not Super Bowl contenders. I said if they had a better offensive core, I would call them a Super Bowl contender.
Okay, because that threw me off a bit. For a second there, I'm like,
yes.
Aren't you what's going on?
Don't worry. All
right, my bench of the week is gonna be James Robinson. All right, I love James Robinson. Disclaimer: I love James Robinson, but he is playing a Chargers defense, which is basically a top 5 defense against the run.
Yes.
Now, James Robinson, great guy. He's your average guy. You love him. You start him. You know what he's going to give you. He's going to give you above 10 points, which is what you need with that possibility of that boom. So, listen, if you had a bad draft or one of your running backs got injured, you're a Christian McCaffrey owner, you're a Dalvin Cook owner, I'm telling you this week, if you have James Robinson in your bench and you're like thinking, hey, I know what this guy can usually get me, I don't think he can get it done this week. He gets it done through the pass game. He got a receiving touchdown this week. He usually gets you above 4 receptions per game. But he hasn't been getting the yards production that you usually need. And this Chargers defense is just brutal against the run. And that's why I think you should bench him this week.
And you know what? On top of that, I don't even think it's with the defense. We were hyping him up a little. I was hyping him up a lot. I remember way back, Waiver Wire 3, you talked about picking him up and starting him even right after that. And I agreed. He had a great week 2, a great week 3. But if you look at the numbers, he hasn't broken 20 fantasy points since week 3.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He hasn't had a boom. He hasn't had a boom in a few weeks. He still gets it done through the ground, like you said, and through the air. But he's not he's no Alvin Kamara. He's nothing crazy like that. No. And if you look at Kamara against the Chargers just a couple of weeks ago, just last week, He didn't get it done. He didn't get it done through the ground. And what saved his fantasy production is the fact that he got 8 catches and 70 yards through the air, which is like wide receiver numbers. That's not what Justin Robinson does. What James Robinson does.
James Robinson won't do that. He's no Alvin Kamara, like you mentioned. And if Alvin Kamara was held down on the run against the Chargers, who knows what they'll be able to do against
James Robinson's not. I agree. He's not getting it done.
On top of that, Jaguars O-line, you just can't trust it. James Robinson's been doing what he's doing, despite of the O-line that he has there. So against the Chargers, I just don't see that performance. All right, everybody, that's all for this week. We'll see you next time on the Waiver Wire.
I'm Juan Tejera.
And I'm Ricardo Blanco.
See you next time.